and you've been calibrating to other humans. Sometimes it's easy to get along with them, and sometimes it isn't. Sometimes the same person is moody in different ways. Sometimes you're moving from person to person to person. The law of attraction is really what's matching you up. But as humans, you go a lot of places that you're not inspired to go. You go because you're assigned to go. You go because you're supposed to go. You go because you're expected by others to go. You go because you're paid to be there, because it's your workplace or whatever. So there are a lot of humans that are interacting with a lot of other humans, and you find that kind of calibrating to be really challenging. But when you switch over to an understanding that you want to calibrate to your inner being who's always stable, then it's not challenging, because you're not trying to hit a moving target, because your inner being isn't moving. In other words, your inner being is always this signal that you can learn to tune to. Have you ever had a situation with two humans, like a friend and another friend, where they each wanted something different from you? And you're in the room with them trying to decide which one of them to please this red hot minute. And now that's a struggle, because you can't please both of them. And they're both in their insecurity looking to you to give them something that they need. That's a struggle. But when you're talking about your relationship with your inner being, that's not a struggle, because your inner being adores you. Your inner being understands your worthiness. Your inner being knows who you are, knows what you want, knows where you stand in relationship to everything you want. So most of that equation that you have with people doesn't exist with your inner being. That's why we want to help you get acquainted with your inner being and your inner being's relationship with you. You're really parts of the same whole, but the inner being part is steady and sure. And you aren't always, and that's when you have a struggle. But it's an easier struggle. It's this easy. I don't feel so good. I must not be in sync with my inner being. So my inner being must be looking at this in a different way than I am. Wonder how my inner being's looking at this. And just with that handful of mental processes, usually you can realize that your inner being is seeing something different. When you're down on yourself and you feel bad, it's because your inner being isn't down on you. When you're mad at somebody and you feel bad, that's because your inner being isn't mad at them. When you're afraid of something and you feel that fear, that's because your inner being isn't afraid. So here's the thing. So we talked about this a little bit already. How easy it is when you're in your physical form to look around, to sniff around, to feel around, to listen around, to lick around. In other words, your physical senses are dominant because they're so well developed. Each one of them is a vibrational interpreter. And so we know that manifestations for most people are easier to see. They're easier to hear. They're easier to know. So you're wanting to develop your ability to feel. We've been saying to you for a while that the struggle that most humans have with getting things to move in the direction that they want them to be is that they are so infatuated with what is. So you look at what is, you offer a vibration about it, and you can't get past it because it keeps your belief going. That's where you're trending. You trend where you look. When Jerry and Esther were roaming around this nation in the monster bus, and Esther did most of the driving, and sometimes Jerry would say, "Oh, look at that," and Esther would start driving toward it. Because where she's looking is sort of where she's going. He got so he never pointed anything out unless it was straight ahead. You tend to go where you're looking. It's a law of physics, really. What you give your attention to, you move in the direction of. So you have to find a way to be forward-looking rather than looking at what is. And we know you find a way to do that for a little while, and then you revert back. We acknowledge with all of you, friends, we know for sure it is easier for you to look around than it is to feel around initially. Last night, some lovely person said to Esther, "I can see someone, a being, standing on the stage next to you, Esther. And Esther said, I know, it's Jerry. And he said, because when you move, your aura moves with you, but that doesn't. And so what we're getting at is there are all kinds of things that you don't usually see with your physical eyes that are part of your experience. So you have to come to believe that the vortex version is real and in the process of becoming. Here's the best way to describe this to you. Some years ago, there was a beautiful young girl coming to the Los Angeles workshops, really wanting to become pregnant. She so wanted a baby. She talked about it. She came every 6 months. Esther held a gathering there, and every 6 months she came, and the groups were small. She usually managed to get in the hot seat, and that was what she always wanted to talk about. But her feeling, what she was seeing, was absence of baby. She was wanting to get pregnant and not getting pregnant, and the reality of not being pregnant was so dominant within her. And so we talked about the vortex version. We talked about it's in the process of becoming. And then one day, maybe 6 or 7 workshops later, she arrived, raised her hand, sat in the hot seat, and announced that she is pregnant. And many of the same people, small group coming in those early days, were so delighted that now she is getting what she wants. And we said, we don't see a baby. And she said, oh, well, I'm just barely pregnant. We said, no, we don't mean that. We mean, you've been talking about taking the baby trick-or-treating. You've been talking about buying clothes for the baby. We don't see you doing any of those things now. Why are you so happy? And she said, because I have a baby. We said, we don't see a baby. It's like it's the vortex version of the baby. It's in the gestation period. It's in the process of becoming. But because she knew now it was in the process of becoming, it was easy for her not to feel lack of baby. How many people want a baby, can't get pregnant, adopt a baby, then they get pregnant? Why do they get pregnant after they've adopted a baby? Because they're no longer focused upon lack of baby. And so the human condition is you're usually focused upon what you've got. And if what you've got isn't what you want, then it just keeps changing to more of the same over and over again. So it is so important that you believe in the reality of your vortex with your gestation of the things that you want. And you have to let that be not the complete thing that you think about all of the time, but at least you want to let it be something that you're doing more of the time. And so we want to take issue with all of you about what you call present tense and what we call present tense, because we call what's in the vortex present tense. Once you've put it there, as far as we're concerned, it is done. And you've got to figure out a way to feel more doneness of what's in the vortex and less lack of what's in your experience. Because there is nothing that you cannot be or do or have. Nothing that you cannot be or do or have. It's just a matter of, we're going to call it an experience of calibrating. Look at it this way. Thoughts about the absence of what you want don't feel good. So what do you think your inner being is thinking? If you're not feeling good, you know for sure your inner being's thinking something different. What do you think it is? Your inner being is not focused upon where you are in terms of manifestation. Your inner being is focused upon where you're going. And when you do that, you'll be happy about where you are. So some games that we would play, wouldn't it be nice if? I'm really looking forward to, and something else. There's one last piece of this. We love you so much. You are so nosy about what you think other people think. And other people rarely are thinking exactly what you think they're thinking. You just assign it to them. So you've just decided, for whatever reason, that you don't look the way you want to look. Sometimes you pick it up from some other insecure person. Sometimes you do. But what are you doing roaming around in those frequencies? Did you not meditate? Did you not segment intend? Did you not play the wouldn't it be nice if game? Did you not make your statement to the universe? Did you not acknowledge that your vortex exists and that everything that you want is in it and you're on your way to it? Do you not understand this stuff? Do you not know that the law of attraction is real and that you can't get something when you're thinking in opposition to it? This is the wonderful thing about the law of attraction and everything that we're talking about here in terms of the laws of the universe. They are steady and consistent, and they won't fool you and they won't let you down. And so don't force it. Don't try to make it happen. The universal forces have got you covered. You've already put into your vortex the combination of things that you desire, and they have been gathering, cooperating others, and gathering momentum. So your singular work really is to be a match to that as best you can. But once you get that kind of stability, and because you've got that stability, it starts to feel just slightly boring to you, then that's when you want to turn up the gas, make more decisions about it. Wouldn't it be nice if is a really good game. Wouldn't it be nice if when I looked up my bank balance, it was ridiculous? Wouldn't it be nice if I really could take money out of the equation and just do what I want to do because I'm drawn to do it? Wouldn't that be nice? What would that feel like? If that were the case, what would I do? What kinds of things would I do? And you see, there's something important that we want to say to you, and you're ready to hear this. This turning up the gas is not because your vortex needs it. It's not because your future expansion needs it. It's not to make things manifest it's needed. It's that when you get more specific, when you know you're in alignment, you put yourself more in the receiving mode so that you get to witness more of the things falling into place. It's no fun for somebody else to just take care of everything, is it? The only time you want that is when you're feeling insecure or insignificant. But when you've got those creative juices flowing, you don't want someone else telling you what to do. You want your own juices to flow. So do more deliberate scripting. Tell the story the way you want it to be. And what happens when you begin doing that is you'll catch yourself in belief systems. Systems isn't the right word. In belief situations. In situations where your beliefs are challenging your desire. And because you've made clear statements, which means you've made yourself more alert to what you want. When you're saying something that you don't believe, you're going to get an emotional signal about that, aren't you? And so then is the remedy to give up the desire? No. The remedy is to shore up your belief system by a focus wheel, by establishing what you want and making statements that you already believe about that, reminding yourself, yeah, I want that. Esther did focus wheels just now. She wrote, great experience today in the center. And then she wrote, always is. Abraham knows. Crowd is ready. Questions are queued up. I like this. The trend is there. In other words, she just romped around the wheel. Then she did another one. She put in the center, happy, because that's what's natural, because that's how I usually feel. That's because that's what they're about, because that's where Abraham is. In other words, just making statements that are ridiculously obvious to herself, just to stabilize in that place that she's deciding in this moment she wants to experience. And then, as a result, everybody around is playful. Everybody backstage is playful. Everything's fun when you've decided it is, because the universe will respond to what's active in you. That's what turning up the gas is. It's different than whatever will be, will be. It's whatever will be exactly as I like it to be, and here's my list. But you're not giving the list to the universe because it hasn't heard it from you. You're giving the list to yourself so that you can calibrate to the list that's in the vortex that your inner being is already lined up with, that's already on its way to you.